I have over $60,000 in just one Metaverse stock. Now, that's a huge chunk of my total life savings, so why am I willing to risk so much? As you're about to see, the company behind this stock, it's making some big moves. And for my existing subscribers, you'll likely know what stock I'm talking about. And thanks a lot for sticking with me. Although, that's why we're going to start with some different Metaverse stocks first. I haven't covered these opportunities before, and they're worth a closer look. As a starting point, I've created a fairly large list of Metaverse stocks. It's hard to find pure play opportunities. Heck, it's even harder to come up with an agreed upon definition of what the Metaverse is. Nonetheless, these companies, they're already putting efforts into a Metaverse future. Some, they're helping build the networking infrastructure and hardware, while others are really focusing on the software. And some are doing both. And as the Metaverse grows, it's going to unlock huge opportunities for creators, advertisers, payment portals, and brands. The fashion industry, for example, it's already testing out selling digital accessories and clothing in various metaverses. Now, I have seen some pushback to these models working, but human behavior, it doesn't change. People are willing to pay ridiculous prices for designer goods in real life. This is more often driven by just seeking social status. And as digital worlds improve, they become truly more immersive, that human behavior, it's going to carry into them. Selling digital goods, it's really nothing new, but it's going to explode over the next 5 to 10 plus years. NFTs are just an early taste of the market potential. And to be honest, I've been pretty skeptical of NFTs from the start. Much of the NFT market became an overhyped bubble. But nonetheless, some of the underlying concepts and technologies, they're going to be used in a more sustainable way for the Metaverse. So getting back to the Metaverse stocks list, very few of these stocks actually make my cut. Now, most, if not all, are great businesses. But I'm a value investor, and the stock market, even after its recent pullback, is still overvalued based on many metrics. I'm simply unwilling to pay these lofty premiums. I take more of the Warren Buffett kind of value investing approach, so I focus on price relative to underlying value. And maybe that's thanks to my background. I did finance and accounting, as well as passing the CFA exams, and I've really focused on equity valuation. But I digress. The Metaverse stock that comes in third place is Intel. Now, Intel has definitely lost some ground to competitors over the past few years, and investors have beaten down its shares. Although, this company is far from being down for the count. You can pick it up at a discount today and collect some solid dividends going forward. So just a month or a few months back, I doubled down and I let you guys know here on YouTube by posting a comment. I'm not going to focus on the valuation side of Intel today. I've done that in a past video that explained why I'm buying Intel instead of AMD. I'll link to it in the description down below. So instead, I just want to briefly highlight how Intel it's going to benefit from the Metaverse. For the Metaverse to gain mass user adoption, computing it's really going to need to continue doubling on many fronts. According to a senior VP at Intel, truly persistent and immersive computing at scale and accessible by billions of humans in real time will require even more, 1,000 times increase in computational efficiency from today's state of the art. Intel is advancing transistors, packaging, memory, interconnect, and many other technologies. And already, the company is a diversified cash flow machine. But it is investing intelligently to regain, maintain, and access new markets. Intel is well positioned to benefit as the Metaverse expands. And best of all, it trades at a steep discount compared to its competitors. Now, for the second best Metaverse stock on my list, Tencent. Tencent is a tech giant in China. It has some comparable business models to Amazon, Meta Platforms, Microsoft, and some of the others. I'll highlight its huge potential with the Metaverse, but first I do want to address the elephant in the room, or the major risk. Given added geopolitical risk, being a Chinese company, it trades at a pretty big discount to US companies. The CCP has clamped down on tech companies to maintain control. Now, it's been really painful as I've taken a large position in another Chinese tech stock, Alibaba. I'm down more than $15,000 on that position, but I'm still holding tight. I'm playing the long game. I think the long term for really both Alibaba and Tencent, both those companies still have great potential. And the worst of Chinese clampdowns are hopefully over. If the CCP continues with new big company restrictions, it's essentially shooting itself in the foot. I believe some of the recent moves are doing more damage to China's economy than the US could do. Based on those clampdowns, fewer investors are going to invest in China. And Chinese innovators, they're going to gravitate out of the country. They're going to gravitate towards less restrictive countries where they can build their services and products. So I'm sure that the CCP understands this, and it's really a tough balancing act. More recently, the CCP's put out more positive-facing, kind of free market comments. Nonetheless, it's going to continue to be a bumpy ride for investors. But getting back to why Tencent is a top metaverse stock, well, it's a huge holding company with ownership in a very wide range of technologies. It's a leading social media provider, as well as a massive entertainment and gaming company. It also deals in advertising, fintech, and cloud and streaming services. With near-term metaverse growth, its gaming properties and platforms, they're going to be a huge win. Tencent owns League of Legends and countless games. It also acquired more than 40% of Epic Games, the creator of Unreal Engine and also the publisher of Fortnite, one of the most played games in the world. Overall, its reach is a bit overwhelming and it continues to grow. This helps Tencent make the cut for best metaverse stocks, along with its steep discount relative to US tech stocks. And the Chinese stock discount, it's likely going to persist, but as the company continues to grow its reach, its cash flows in the years ahead, its share price should follow. Now, onto my favorite metaverse stock. My largest investment is in Metaverse Platforms, formerly called Facebook. The company, following Mark Zuckerberg's lead, has jumped headfirst into making the metaverse a reality. It's investing billions of dollars each year, and already the early signs are pretty promising. Meta has sold well over 10 million VR headsets. This was an important milestone, and there's now kind of a critical mass. More users are bringing in more developers, and more developers are bringing in more users. In a recent game showcase, Meta announced a Ghostbusters game and also the first officially licensed NFL game for VR. Now, those aren't really my cup of tea, but they're definitely going to help sell more headsets. The VR market is compounding, and we're seeing some big brands and industries jump into the metaverse. Of course, gaming is an important entry point for VR headsets, and standalone, that's huge. The gaming industry is larger than the film and music industry combined, but VR and AR are going to unlock massive growth in other areas as well. For example, there are already growing communities for VR fitness and meditation. On top of that, a big disruption on the horizon, pun intended, it's collaboration and work in VR. Imagine being able to replace your monitors and your laptops and your computers. That's a future that's not far off. The soon-to-be-released Cambria headset will be more focused on productivity. Now, this iteration won't likely be an iPhone moment for the VR space. It's more set as a higher-end product that's geared towards a smaller market. But based on the rate that Meta is innovating, there's likely to be a huge turning point with future products. Overall, there's still plenty of risk to helping build out the metaverse. It might not play out as expected, and competition is already picking up. For example, Apple is expected to announce an AR or VR headset here soon. And all the while, Meta is spending massive piles of cash. It still has lots of cash on the balance sheet and has strong cash flows, but Reality Labs, its newer kind of separated segment, it probably isn't even going to be profitable within this decade. But Meta's its legacy social and advertising businesses can easily fund its metaverse ventures to the tune of many billions of dollars a year. Also, its success in those other areas, it should really help with building and monetizing the metaverse. I could really go on for hours about VR and AR, all the potential involved, as well as why Meta Platforms is likely to continue being a leader. But for the sake of brevity, just a few final points I'll make about Meta. Its, valuation, it's hard to pass up. The share price has really been beaten down again recently, and it just presents a great buying opportunity. All the while, the company just continues to grow faster than the market average, but yet it trades at a lower multiple than the market average. Meta is just a cash flow machine that continues to grow even in the face of constant criticism. And also, it's a founder-led company that's playing the long game. There's a really strong mission and leadership at the company. With overall recent market volatility, there's a good chance that Metaverse stocks drop further. But that's okay in my books. Trying to time short-term movements is near impossible. It's impossible to do consistently. Of course, it's never going to be fun to see hard-earned savings vanish, but I'm playing the long game. There's a high probability that any short-term paper losses turn into long-term capital gains. If anything, further drops are going to give me better buying opportunities, the ability to double, triple down. As always, I'd really appreciate it if you just tap that like button down below if you found this video interesting, useful, thought-provoking. And now here's that video that I mentioned on Intel, and then also one on why I bought shares of Meta. They both go into more of the financials of those companies. So I'll drop a link to them down in the description below, and thanks a lot for stopping by.